Hey guys, thanks for joining me for another Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia video. Today we're going to do a character guide on Hope. So I got Hope's FR. Darned if I didn't have to spend nearly all my resources, but we got it. And so I've decided to go all in. He's blue armor, max force enhanced 30. Hope, by the way, is a character you really want to force enhanced 30 him if you're going to go for him. His big role is force charging, and you want to be force enhanced to be able to do that very well. Hope, just for those of you that don't know, is a very good support unit. Like, really good. It just depends on what your box looks like, whether you should summon for him or not, but he's the best force charger since Pinello. He has 2 skill uses that do it, and he's got a lot of skill uses to be able to do it with. This dude batteries on like every button he presses, and he's got some healing in there. Has some very good party protection where he can reduce magic and brave damage and even HP damage in some situations. So very good character. Like, Hope is great. He's a very good character. It's all going to depend on what your resources are and what your box is like if you want to summon for him. But if you invest in him, he's an awesome piece to have. So I'm glad to have him. I think he's going to be really fun. So in this video, we're going to go ahead. We're going to look at his spheres. We're going to look at his artifacts. And we're going to start off by going through his calls right here, right? So his calls are all right. They're decent. His calls aren't anything that I've used that much. His 15 CP is just using Shell here. Doesn't do any attack. It does just do a attack up to the caller, and then the party gets a magic resist up. So basically a buff that reduces the magic damage you take. So that could have some use for it, right? And then the LD. The LD is pretty solid, right? The LD is a party heal, which is very good. Like, healing calls I always think have value, just because you could be in a fight where you're about to kill the boss. They might tick you with some HP damage. You're below the threshold for the mission. You might need a quick heal at the end. So having healing calls is never a bad thing. And then it has a very unique debuff called D-Shell, which basically is, it may be the only, but it's a magic resist down. Just a generic magic imperil, right? And I think that's a pretty rare thing. I don't know that any other character actually has that. There could be one, but it's pretty rare. It's kind of similar to how Fran has a ranged imperil. Like, that's a pretty rare thing. Auron has a melee damage imperil. Very select characters have actual weapon type imperils. Edward, I think, can kind of imperil everything. That's kind of his thing. But yeah, it's pretty rare to have just like a magic damage imperil. So that's kind of cool, right? It's not as important as it used to be, though, just because we have so many different element imperils and it's so easy to enchant imperil these days. But it is cool. It's a cool gimmick, right? Alright, so let's go ahead and look at Hope. This dude's crazy, by the way. Hope is actually very good. Let's jump into his artifacts first. Very basic artifacts. As a support battery character, you might not think that attack 108 max brave 330 is the way to go, but it is. And you want 3 of these, and I only have 1 of these, so I definitely need to grind up more of these during this event. But by far, you want 3 attack 108 max brave 330. One is it helps him do more damage, but as a support unit, his battery scales off of attack and max brave depending on which battery you're doing. But his doesn't rely, like, he doesn't really get as much from iBrave as other battery units do, so you actually kind of want to avoid iBrave with him and just go all in on attack and max brave. That's the way I would go with Hope, right? And then let's go ahead and look at the spheres. I did load mine up with some pretty darn good spheres. So B spheres are kind of interesting. They're not like the craziest for Hope. So the B spheres are actually tanking spheres. And Hope isn't really a tank, although he does have damage mitigation, which is why they gave him a B sphere. So he doesn't have a ton that he can actually trigger, but I would say Gabranth is probably one of the better ones. So anytime he does a crit, it reduces the brave damage taken by 10%. The reason why Gabranth is so good is because he's got Shell and Protect, which basically is magic damage down and physical damage down. So basically, you're already doing damage reduction, but then you're pairing another damage reduction on top of it. So it's a lot of brave damage reduction that can scale on top of each other. So I do think having something like Gabranth there is really going to help protect the party. You could also go with, like, I think Kamari, Celis, and then Warrior of Light are other ones that you could trigger. Warrior of Light isn't bad because that's also like a damage reduction one. But I like Gabranth here, and I actually happen to have a full Gabranth, and I think this is an excellent character to use it on. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. The C slot, Hope is extremely compatible with C spheres because his main gimmick is like buffing and supporting, and that's what a lot of the C spheres are. So you're really wide open. Now, one thing I'll say is Hope's own sphere is one of the best C slots in the game. It is, when you buff, you get attack and max brave up. So if you're upgrading Hope for the first time or you get extra EXs, it's a very easy one to just create another one and put that on there, right? Now, I didn't happen to have another full Hope ready. I could grind up and make one, but I'm actually really short on orbs right now to actually upgrade the weapons, because I just did a bunch of weapon upgrading last night. So I just picked another C slot that was pretty good here. And what I decided to do is go with more of a battery sphere. So I put a little set on for battery, and so what this does is anytime you debuff, which Hope debuffs enough that you can trigger a debuff, right? That it's going to basically do an extra battery with it. So I threw that on. Lilithset isn't optimal by any means. Like I said, just put Hope's own on there. But any of those just good C slots that raise... sorry, when I was talking about Hopes, that's the D slot. Sorry, I'm getting a little mixed up. C slot is going to be more like Maria, Lude. Those types of ones are really, really good, right? So there I opted to go Lilithset because it's more of a battery sphere. But if you want to do attack, you do like Maria, Lude, something like that, right? But the D slot, sorry, my bad. The D slot is where Hope is like top tier, right? So this would be an attack max brave one. Now, once again, this is one where I had a Deuce one ready to go, and this is just a party attack up with 3 or more active buffs. Hope's whole thing is about having a ton of party buffs going, and actually one of his FR conditions is that you want to have 13 total buffs on the party. So this is basically always going to be active, right? So I thought Deuces was pretty good here, but you could do like Saz, Lise, Ash, like any of those. Pretty much the only one you're not going to trigger is the Luna Freya one, because that's a weakness damage one. But there's a lot of good ones there you could throw on. And then actually on the C slot, there's one more I wanted to shout out. You could do Theodore. Some people do like Theodore here, just because Hope does have some healing, but it's not as potent or consistent. So Theodore could kind of just make that look a little bit better, right? And I just wanted to check one more, if I can find the right spot here. I'm trying to remember. Actually, I might be thinking of another. I think I'm thinking of another D slot. But yeah, there are a couple healing ones you could throw on there. Things like that. Just depends on what you want to do. C slot is a little bit open-ended, but I went with the battery there. But I would think on the C slot, probably like a Maria or Lude is probably the best, right? Once again, focus on attack and max brave, and if you can get those, then you're good to go. All right, so with that, let's hop into Showcase. And Hope is extremely easy to play. I have a very particular team comp here, just because there's something I want to show off. I'll just do no friend here. I don't need one for the team comp I'm doing. So, the thing I want to show off with Hope is that he can get to max out force gauge quite easily. And the force gauge does max at 999%. Now, visually, that's all they show you. Somebody can let me know in the chat that maybe knows the inner workings a little bit better, but does your force percent actually go above 999 and it just doesn't show it, or is 999 where they cut you off? Somebody in the chat let me know, but we're going to get to 999% force, like maxed out. So we'll definitely show that off. So, what I kind of want to do is I'm going to kind of just show off like Hope's kit, and then it's very easy for me to go in and get that force time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by just deleting some turns. I think that sounds good. And you're going to see our party is just instantly loaded with buffs, which like is very easy to do with Hope, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm not even going to worry about doing Cisne's big thing yet. But I specifically brought Cisne and Kane. And the reason why is with Hope getting the gauge high, he does it with attacks that aren't actually attacks. Now, you can still do attacks and raise the gauge very well, but if you really want to exploit it, you're going to be doing non-damaging attacks. So to get the most out of it, you want off turns that are going to be attacking anyways, right? So Kane, I don't really need... Oh, actually, let's get Kane's burst effect up, sure. So I do want to get a couple... What I'm going to do probably with Hope is I might just pop a Luna Freya just to get some turns to show off his stuff, okay? So pretty much what you do with Hope is you pretty much can just force charge like immediately if you want to, right? So he's got Shell and Protect. So let's use Shell first. And Shell and Protect are both force charging moves. So you can see we got like 10% there. Non-damaging moves. Does a party battery that scales off of attack. So that's why attack is important. He gets a free instant turn off of that. He gets an attack up. And then he does put magic damage resist up. So that's like what Shell does, right? In the game, it's magic damage resist. So then that's basically what that does. Pretty simple. Protect. is basically the same thing, but now we're adding a physical damage resist up to the party. Does a party battery based on attack again, and then it gives them a speed up. So that's pretty much what it is. Shell and Protect, you get attack up, speed up, and then magic damage resist and physical damage resist, and then you are force charging, right? So let me show off a couple of these other attacks here. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pop a Lunafreya LD just to get some free turns. So I can just like kind of freely show these off to you. And then what we'll do is we'll kind of go crazy and like set up for a force time, right? So let's go ahead and show off the EX Last Resort. And I kind of want to just see the damage here for myself. And then we'll kind of go through what this attack's actually doing. All right, yeah, 800k AoE, we take that. We'll take that for a support character for sure. So Last Resort, big AoE attack, big party, or big battery, and this actually scales off of the HP damage done. Okay, and then this does do a party heal, and then does add some overflow. So that's pretty good, right? So we've got that. Then let's go ahead and show off the LD. The LD is called Purification. Big party heal there, big AoE attack. Okay, about 760k AoE, pretty good. So Purification does another party heal. This is a pretty fat party heal, does some overflow. Big AoE attack, party battery also based on HP damage. This puts D-Shell on the enemy, so this is the one that basically magic imperils, which is pretty good, right? So now what we have is we are going to force charge in a minute, but he also has 2 HP attacks. So the way Hope works is his only main attacks you're using are like EX and LD. So if you're kind of filling in and you don't want to force charge, then you're going to use the Brutal Sanction, or you're going to use Retributive Blast. And these aren't the worst attacks. Let's go ahead and try them out and see how this. So let's start with Brutal Sanction. Let me see what this looks like. Yeah, I mean 200k AoE, it's okay, right? It might be a good filler attack that you want to do. So it's an AoE attack. It does fill the EX gauge by 20%, so it is a good EX charging move. Does do a party heal, so if you just need an on-demand heal, I mean, you got it there. And it does do a big party battery scaled off of his attack, right? Alright, so now what we're going to do is I think I'm ready to just set up for the force time. The other, I'll just explain the other one. I don't know if I'll get a chance to use it, but Retributive Blast. This is the HP plus attack. It is another single target attack with some splash. Does do some Brave gains. Fills the EX gauge like the other one. Does a battery. And then if you do break or attack a broken enemy, it does actually put a defense down debuff. So it does a little debuff on it, but neither of those are crazy. They're pretty much just like filler attacks that you can use, right? So with Cisne, let's go and put the AA on. And then we're going to use Cisne's LD. And basically, the thing with Hope, being that he is a force charger, has a lot of instant turns, Hope can really, like, doesn't need Lunafreya, and he can just jump in and do his thing, right? Which is what we're going to see here. So with Kayn, we're going to LD and get Kayn up in the air. And we're going to have just these double follow-ups going, right? Okay. And then what we'll do is we're going to go ahead and double jump. Perfect. And then, yeah, just... Okay, so here's what we're watching. The damage isn't going to be crazy because we're only getting follow-up damage, but this is going to be cool. So let's go ahead and pop the... Oh, I can't pop the FR yet, so I got to do a bunch of free attacks. Now, since Hope actually has a couple of turns in a row, I could actually... Let's show off Retributive Blast, because I haven't done that yet. So let's show that off, because I got an extra turn to do it. Okay, like 400k with some splash, that's not bad for just like a HP plus, right? Okay, so now what we can do is we can just Shell and Protect all the way into Force Time. And once again, these are instant turns. And when you're doing that, you're getting the off turn. Oh, the bad part though is Cisne doesn't trigger on them. Yeah, that's the bad part. I guess I'm only getting Kayn. I guess I should have brought a different off turn. That's okay though. We'll see just Kayn going here. But you could bring another off turn that would trigger. So I guess Freya is what I should have brought, not Cisne. That's a bummer. You know what? I almost want to... Here, what I'm going to do... Because Cisne's only going to trigger on HP damage. Here's what I'm going to do. Because this will be super fast. I'm just going to hop in again with Freya. Because I do really want this to look good. So let's just hop in with Freya quick. And I can literally just force charge like instantly, right? It'll be quick. So let me go ahead and instead of Cisne, I'm going to grab Freya. So we got to go to FF9. Because Freya, I believe, works exactly the same as Kayn. Where she's just going to drop every time. So let's just do that instead. Alright, and let's go ahead and hop in again. Because I want to show you, like, this double off-turn setup is just crazy. Alright, let's just go in again. And I mean, we've got all the buffs on. Yeah, like 13 buffs are what we need, and we've got it, like, instantly. Kane and Freya are just starting at 6 buffs in this particular team comp. Oh, and this is perfect. I can just get them both in the air right away, and then just go right into Hope. So this will show you how you can just like bum rush with Hope, right? So let's go ahead and 6 dragons. And then we'll get Freya up in the air. Descending dragon. It's been so long since I used Freya, I had to think for a minute. Is that actually the right one? Alright, and then Kane, yeah, we'll just... Now, Kane will be getting a little bit less because we won't have his BT effect up, but that's okay. I just want to get this going right away. Yep, we'll just be dropping some spears, and then we're going to get up in the air. Alright, so we got Freya and Kane up. So this is what my intention here was to have 2 off turns going, right? Alright, and then what we'll do is now we'll just show you how you can just go crazy and just shell and protect all the way up. And the thing that's cool, we're going to use this FR here obviously, but the FR does recover skill uses of skill 1 and skill 2 also. So he is going to get some skill uses back. Well, I suppose because I'm going to need these for the actual force time, so I don't want to use all of them. I didn't bring a friend. That's okay, we're set up. We'll just go all the way into it. We should have some skill uses left. Okay. And then once again, these shell and protects are just battering, kind of doing crazy things. Oh, the one thing I should mention about Hope that I forgot is he does have an overhead. And his overhead just never runs out. It's a stacking buff. But it's from his EX, right? And basically it gets stacks based on the number of party buffs you have. So you can see mine's at 5 stacks, which is maxed. In order to get to that max 5 stacks, you have to have 13 or more buffs on the party, right? Which is something that we talked about. Oh, actually, Hope's got an extra turn here. And Hope's got that too, yeah. So actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this energy heal and see if that force charges. Because I want to keep some skill uses for Hope. Because I want to actually use his force charging moves during his force time. Then we'll do Awakening. And then with these free turns, I can just use some other attacks that'll charge the gauge up a little bit at least. While still keeping like my turns going, right? Alright, perfect. Now I can do is say like pop the LD. Just to get some other attacks in. And then we'll maybe pop the EX. Yeah, we'll just keep using some of these attacks to kind of charge here. And then let's get the EX off. There we go. Nice, nice. Alright, and then we can do another attack. Let's just do Retributive. Okay. Alright, and then we're going to charge up and finish up our charging. Yeah, there we go. Got a nice charge off of that. That's good. Alright, so let's go ahead and shell and protect a little bit more. Okay. Sure, let's protect again. Alright, we're almost there. We just got to do one more. So I'm not going to have like all the skill uses here, but you wouldn't have to rush into it this quick, and you could go into it with more skill uses. But I just want to show you how crazy this force time can be. Alright, and I'm going to get a skill use back of each one, which is good. It is nice that they do that, because they might be thinking people might want to use the strat, right? Alright, so let's hop into the force, so we can show it off. Actually, I guess I'll use the AA since I'm here. The AA I should talk about, that is significant. So this does do a battery, but the big thing about it is it does party HP damage taken minus 40%. So this is like the big HP damage down. And the other thing I forgot to mention is with the shell and the protect, they are 60% brave damage down for that typing. So shell is 60% magic brave damage down, and then the other one, the one that's not shell, protect, sorry, is 60% physical damage down, right? Alright, so let's go ahead and do the FR. So he teams up with El Nacho here, El Nacho Libre. Kind of an interesting combination. Alright, and let's see this big attack here. Okay, this is an instant turn, by the way. Okay, so it does pretty decent damage there. Now, what's going to happen... Yeah, we're just going to get these follow-ups right away. Alright, so this is where it's going to get crazy. So the way this works is it does give himself magic damage resist up on the attack. It does do physical damage resist up. So it basically gives him shell and protect at the same time. And then he gets a speed up. And then does add that D-shell to the enemies, which is the magic damage down. Now here's the HP damage bonus conditions, okay? If if you take a turn and there's 13 or more buffs on the party, it's plus 30%. But if Hope is the one taking turns, it's an extra 20. So Hope gets 50% every time he takes a turn while you have 13 or more buffs. Okay? Or sorry, it's plus 40% sorry, my bad. I'm getting mixed up here. All right, it's just 30% no matter who has it. So if you have 13 buffs, it's 30%. Then what it is if you battery, you get 20%, but Hope adds 40% to that. So if Hope batteries, it's 60, and then you're getting 30, so that's like 90. Now what happens is like when Hope does Shell or Protect, those do like big HP buffs too. So you actually get insane percentages. So watch what happens. I'm going to Protect here and watch the HP damage gauge here. Oh, 83. Why? It didn't work the way I wanted to. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to drop. So this plan isn't going to work out how I want to because since they're up in the air, it's not counting their buffs. It's not counting the 13. So I only got 80%. That's not what I want. So I'm going to go ahead and attack. We're just going to let these guys drop down, and then I'll show you what actually happens. So there are probably better ways to optimize it. Maybe it has to be something more like a Laguna or something, but it would be nice to have some off turn. I guess the other thing you could do is you could just charge it a lot. Now you're going to see just like attacking and stuff, like the gauge is going to go up fine, like a normal character, right? So here, like we can battery on turn. We're going to have 13 or more buffs. Well, I don't know. We probably don't because Kane's not down. But that'll be, 51, and that would have been more if Kane was down. But we got to get Kane down. So using that plan, I guess, doesn't work as well as I thought to because actually the buffs have to be on the field. All right, so let's let Kane do an attack here. I don't want a rising dive. We'll just go ahead and jump. All right, let's see. So 40%, that's decent. We got a little bit there, but let's get Hope back up again. So then I can show you. All right, so now that the buffs are actually down on the floor, what you should be seeing is this. Let's Protect again. They are 123%, right? So now you could just do this. The bad part is you're not doing damage, right? But you could spam this up to a very full forest time, right? Now, because I had to putz around for a few turns, we might not get all the way to the top. But you see pretty much capped out. So I did a little test run before this, and I got it up to 999. This is going to be just about there, right? 945. So I guess at 945, let's just pop a 7 and see how much this Brothers does at 945. It's going to do a lot. 12 mil AoE, pretty good, right? And then Hope, what do we want to drop down? I wonder what's going to do more, the EX? I feel like the EX hits pretty hard. Let's drop the EX, see how much damage we do with the EX at 945, right? So had Freya and Kane not been in the air, we would have gotten a lot faster. Yeah, and then a 5 mil AoE. So anyways, guys, I'm sure there's people that have ways to like really maximize this and abuse it. But the big thing is with Hope, you don't have to do that gimmick of like shelling or whatever to get the 120% every time. What you can do is if you're just attacking, you're going to be getting like 80-90% just on Hope's turns. And then just attack with the other characters. If you have other battery allies and things like that, the numbers are going to be good. You're going to be getting like 40-60% per attack. It's going to be like a good standard force time, right? So anyways, guys, let me know what you think of Hope. Thanks for watching. We'll catch y'all on the next one.